Cowboys Imperial report, Wayne. Now tell me, you live there in Shanghai, China. So you're 13, it's already tomorrow there. Tell me, should I get up for tomorrow?
No, I think you can stay there. You can stay there. It's not, you know, it's nice to know since I already know all the scores the day before, so I do very well in the betting game. So, no, it's okay.
Okay. All right.
I wish it was like that.
Okay. So how long have you been a Dallas Cowboys fan?
Since 1965. 45 years. What is that? Do the math.
Right. So you've been a bandwagon fan for 45 years, according to fans from other teams.
Yeah, that's always an interesting conversation when they bring that up.
Yeah, it reminds me of my brother, my oldest brother. He denies that we go eat at this pizza joint and that we've been eating there as a family tradition for 20 years. He says, no, the tradition is that we eat pizza on Sundays. So that's the joke. Pizza parlor, the non-family tradition that's been going on for 20 years.
Yeah, I guess it's all in the eye of the beholder.
Yes, beauty is in the eye of the beer holder. So tell me, what's the beauty of Texas Stadium? What separates it from other NFL venues?
That's a good question, Amp. It definitely is separated from other NFL venues, and you know, you got the hole in the roof, and you got the Ring of Honor, and you got the severely pitched terrain. That's crazy when you see it. You're standing on the field, and of course the glitz and glamour of the cheerleaders. You know, but it's nothing about that. What separates it, pure and simple, it's the whole of America's team, it's Dallas Cowboys. And whether our haters don't want to hear that or not, it's the truth. I mean, what other stadium holds tours year-round, and they're always fully booked? You know, I lived in the Philadelphia area most of my life, and I can assure you there never had tours of the Vet or the Link. Do they have tours of Heinz Field, of FedEx Field in Washington, or the Meadowlands, or Gillette Stadium, or anywhere else? I don't think so. There's a mystical aura there, and the aura was created by something, and that something is the people. Let's face it, we've had some of the greatest players that ever put on an NFL uniform, and Lilly, Renfro, Pugh, Howley, Jordan, Wright, Hill, Hayes, Dupree, the Manster, Roger, Cliff Harris, Charlie Waters, Tony Dorsett, Drew Pearson, the list goes on, the triplets, Novacek, Moose, Nate Newton, Larry Allen, I keep thinking of more, Leon Lett, Darren Woodson, Bill Bates, Kelvin Martin, those are the guys. And now the mantle has been given to the DeMarcus Wares and the Newmans and the Barbers and the Wittens and the Romos and the Ratliffs, with Felix Jones and Tashard Choice looking on. It's endless. Those are the ones who give it life, and those are the ones who separate this place. Those are the ones that are make it legendary, at least for me. And you know, and of course, then you can't forget the mystical aura surrounding the stadium. Much of that is due to Roger Staubach. I don't think it's a small coincidence that Roger Staubach's life began, NFL life began simultaneously with the life of Texas Stadium, which is very interesting, and I think that gives it a certain amount of spiritual power, you want to call it, or whatever you want to call it. And of course, there's the guy in the hat, you know, the man in the fedora, the great coach, who will always be roaming that sidelines. Those are some of the things that I think separates it. And there's even more than that. There's a passion, that stadium, that this franchise inspires in our opponents. They come here with a really bent to beat us more than any other. Let's not forget, those opponents are 50% of our memories. You know, the Redskins, Giants, Eagles, Steelers, Niners, Rams, Browns, Vikings. All despised enemies when we played them. And for me, anyway, and this may not go over well on the blog or with, you know, other diehard Dallas Cowboy fans, but after that history has been written, I truly admire and respect those great and honorable teams of the past. They were great legends that came in, and they came in with one thing in mind. They wanted to beat the Dallas Cowboys, and sometimes if that was the only game they'd win, it would mean their season. I know that's true in Philadelphia because I lived there, and I know in Washington many years. That's what inspires it. You know, but there would be no legacy if we didn't have the George Allens or Jack Lamberts or John Riggins or Buddy Ryans or Fran Tarkingtons or Eric Dickersons or Sims or Jimmy Brown, Reggie White, and even Dyron Talbert, the hated Dyron Talbert. How incomplete would those memories be, no matter the outcome? Without those memories, those truly despised enemies of their time, there wouldn't be any memories. That's what makes this thing great. The fact that how this team and this franchise and this stadium inspires the passion of the opponents that come into it is what separates this venue from all other venues.
Who owns Texas Stadium more, Tom Landry or the Triplets?
I always kind of don't like to have discussions such as this in an area of competing one era against another, because it's like trying to decide which one of your children you love more. You love them all equally for different reasons. But that's a good question, and a question I will answer. And it's a no-brainer to me. Tom Landry is the majority owner of Texas Stadium. The legacy he built, he's the face of the Dallas Cowboys. He 20 consecutive. We've heard it how many times. This is all cliche now because we've talked about this about a zillion times. The 20 consecutive winning seasons, the 18 out of 20 playoff appearances, the 5 Super Bowls. Well, Landry being in 5 of them. It's and winning too. It's Landry's team. There's no question about it. It always will be Landry's team. It will be Landry's stadium. Plus, Landry won more games in that stadium than any other coach by far. In fact, he almost won as many as all our other coaches combined. He won 104 games in that stadium, including the playoffs. The Triplets took this franchise, and I always will have a soft spot in my heart for the Triplets, because this was this franchise that was dead and dying and over and became a laughing stock, and we never thought we'd see that. And in very, very quick order, Jimmy Johnson and the Triplets took it away, and they built this team back and into its rightful glory. And that gives them a minority ownership. The majority ownership is Tom Landry's, and purely Tom Landry's.
Why would the NFL choose to have the Ravens be the final game in Texas Stadium? Furthermore, why would the league then air that game on NFL Network, a channel that hardly anybody gets? It's like the ending of the Godfather trilogy with Michael Corleone falling out of a chair in Sicily.
That's funny. That's a good analogy. That's another good question, and if I can answer that, I would probably be part of the decision-making process, because I'd need to be on the inside. And if that was the case, they'd be playing the game, they'd be playing against the Redskins, and we wouldn't be talking about it, because we should be playing against the Redskins. That's the game that it should be. The greatest rivalry in possibly all of sports, in my opinion, is the Cowboys-Redskins. There's an interesting fact regarding the Ravens, which I don't think entered into any of the thinking of the NFL powers that be. I just don't think they have that kind of forethought, or they would. The Ravens are the only team to never play in Texas Stadium out of all the teams currently playing in the NFL. And it's interesting that they've chosen one team that's never played here with no history, zero history in Texas Stadium, to be the last game ever in Texas Stadium. Was that planned? If it was, why? It's just very strange. And funny about the NFL Network, much of the U.S. doesn't get to see the game, but it's on here in China.
What do you think will happen to the bronze, the Landry statue that greets you to come into Texas Stadium?
I'd like to be able to talk to Jerry Jones, and it would be funny to just, kind of talk about what this franchise is and what this franchise is all about, and who it's about, who this franchise. This organization is valued at $1.6 billion. It's the most valuable sports franchise in the world. The profits from the Dallas Cowboy merchandise alone net a lofty sum of $200 million. And the Cowboys are the only NFL franchise who don't share those profits with other franchises, the profits from merchandise, that is. The luxury boxes will probably be around the most expensive of any venue, and the ticket prices are being increased by I don't know what exactly, but I'm sure it's a hefty percentage. The franchise is worth so much money as it is. It is a money maker. It will continue to make money. The branding of the Cowboys began with its predecessor, Ted Schramm, and Jerry Jones has more than adequately carried that mantle and is rightly profiting from it. He bought the team. He should profit from it. It's not a complaint or an indictment of Jerry Jones. As a lifelong Dallas Cowboy fan, I'm proud of the fact that the franchise stands above all others in all aspects and financially as well. It's a really glowing and testimony to the greatest franchise on earth as far as I'm concerned. In this day and age of corporate greed and scandals and bank failures and proportions never previously deemed remotely possible, an erosion of institutions and businesses which were once sacred icons and mainstays of a system we thought would never, ever fail. They were infallible and untouchable. And we have government bailouts, and we have, the housing market has collapsed, and here Jerry Jones has this $1.6 billion jewel that's going to continue to make money and continue to be the pinnacle of all sports franchises. You think he could just give back a little bit to millions of loyal Cowboy fans and also to his past glory as well by doing the right thing. and you know his dismissal of Tom Landry, and we all know the story that he had not much of a choice. Jerry Jones did not have much of a choice with how that went down. That was pretty much predestined by the previous owner as an agreement of sale that Tom Landry would no longer coach this team. But it's the way it went down. It's how he did it. I've heard Jerry Jones say it in interviews, and I've read it. That is possibly his biggest regret since being an owner of the Dallas Cowboys is the way he let Tom Landry go. Now he could make that wrong. He has the rare opportunity to make amends and with the mistake he made from the past. And he could take that Landry statue and he can put it at the main entrance to welcome the multitude to Thomas Wade Landry Stadium.
All right, Ween, tell me, man, what's the score going to be Saturday night?
I really think it's going to be more like the 17-6 type of a game, or it's a 20-10 type of a game. I think that's what we're going to see.
Ween, thank you for being on Cowboys Imperial.
Well, Amp, I really appreciate you having me, and go Cowboys.